Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to cover how much it costs for you to charge an electric car should you decide to get one. We're going to give you some information. You can decide if it's cheaper than gas where you're at and a few other things. So, one thing about electricity here, we've been on a flat rate as long as I can remember. Ohio Edison sent out a letter this spring. I got some reflection here. It's not getting any better. About going on a variable rate where you pay less at night, more in the daytime. Uh, Me and the wife are retired. She did go back to work. So we spend most of the time at home. And with these hot summers lately, we run AC. So we went with a flat rate or whatever. But our city went with another company, which is Dynegy. So I get off it because Ohio Edison was cheaper in December than this 4.9. I think it was 4.8 or 4.7 when I got off. Ohio Edison is about 6.7 cents per kilowatt hour on a flat rate. Uh, they do offer a variable rate, and not only that, you can see I have choice. We have a choice to go flat or variable. Some places are stuck on a variable rate, high population centers and stuff like that. So I remember the Ohio Edison commercials from when I was a kid, and it told you you could do a kilowatt hour of energy for about a nickel. So they've done other costs along the bill to raise that, which is fine. Uh, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a coal-fired power plant on the Ohio River. I think it's Stratton, Ohio. And just across the border, upriver, is the Beaver Valley nuclear plant, which used to be Shippingport. Shippingport was the first major non-military nuclear plant in the world, built off of a canceled nuclear reactor that was supposed to go into an aircraft carrier that President Eisenhower canceled. So you can see right there, 4.9802 cents per kilowatt hour. We're just going to call it a nickel to even things out. So, which I didn't do in the math. Uh, your car battery, not batter. I guess I could add another letter there, just so. I guess that's getting old age or something. We'll add the Y in. Sometimes we forget things. So your car battery, you're considering, and they all vary out there. Mine is advertised around 62 kilowatts. So you're going to use that entire battery size times your rate to see what a full charge costs. So they're saying 62. You're going to have some losses in the transfer of that energy to your battery charger in your car, but not enough to make a change because you're not going to be using the full battery. There's reserves and stuff set aside. That would cost here for $3.09 a full charge. My car is advertised 226 miles range. When I hit 96% today, it was telling me 247 miles. I'm an old man and I'm in a small town. So overall, I'm averaging 4.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and that was even with air conditioning on. I've not tried it with heat. I have a thing about using new cars in the salt in the winters here. I didn't do it with the extended van I traded in for this Leaf. So I probably won't do it with the Leaf either. I'll use an older car for driving in the salt. So right now, after we've had a cool week, I'm averaging 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour. And if I stayed in town all the time, I'd get over 300-mile range. Charging around 20% to 80%. I want a little bit more. It's costing me $2 a week for charging. So basically, it's your kilowatt hour rate. Look on your electric bill times the kilowatt hour battery size of whatever car you're considering. The orange is hard to see. So far, my paid charges, I'll read that to you. Let me see if this helps any. No. My pay charges, I've only had 2 quick chargers. Those are DC level 3 charges. The first one was in New York State. Well, I traveled through Pennsylvania to New York and up toward Buffalo to Lake Erie, and then back across Lake Erie and then down home. It cost me $1.20 that day at EV Connect. I had to, luckily my phone got a signal in the middle of town, and I loaded the EV Connect app and just did $1.20. It was 15 cents per kilowatt hour. The other one's Columbus, Ohio. I made a trip down there a couple months ago, and I forget how many miles that was, but I sat there, walked around and toured part of Ohio State. That was $11.93. That was plenty to get me back home. So now the day I went to use the EV Connect thing, I stopped across the border in Pennsylvania. We're coming down here, free charging. I think it's Pymatuming State Park, across the border, southern end. They've got 2 Clipper Creek chargers. I plug in there and I sit and watch the people fish. I watch the boats. I think that day there was people practicing duck hunting with decoys. So I sit there and enjoy things for an hour, hour and a half, use their bathroom. I noticed it was heated in the winter. And then I took off. I went by Conneaut Lake. I went up to Lake Chautauqua, New York. And Lucille Ballpark's got 2 free chargers. I forget the name of those. So I stayed there 2-3 hours trying to learn the gimbal for this camera, which I'm still haven't done. I've got to hit some YouTube videos on that, but I'm holding it by my hand now. Toured around, ate a snack, and then headed up toward Lake Erie, and that's where I paid the $1.20 just for a few minutes on a charger there. From there, I followed the coast and then through the town of Erie to Presque Isle. Finally ate lunch. I seemed to avoid every freaking restaurant most of the day, and wasn't planning on McDonald's, but it was there and it was close. And after McDonald's, I went to Presque Isle, drove around where we used to hang out with boats and stuff, and just plugged in there for a few minutes at the beach just to test a charger, and then came home. One thing I do notice in the Nissan Leaf is it seems to use a lot of energy on the cruise control. I haven't tried, there's 3 modes of driving: regular D for drive, B, which is more regeneration, and then 1 pedal drive is what I mostly stay in. So I went cruise control, and it used a lot more energy coming home. Of course, it's uphill from Lake Erie, downhill toward Lake Erie from home, uphill coming back. But there's something with the cruise control on the Nissan Leaf that burns more energy than other cars, and I haven't found out what it is. So most of my charging away from home, and that free charging is mostly level 2. You can gain maybe 20-25 miles on your range in 1 hour. And that's pretty cool. I just find places I want to eat, shop, stop and tour around. I'm in no hurry. I'm retired. I think Dunkin' Donuts has some free level 3 chargers or whatever that are getting very well used. The United States Air Force Museum has 4 level 2 chargers for free that are all broken. So once they get those fixed, I'll probably make a trip down there to sit in the cockpit of the B1 that they've got sitting out for the public. It used to be my office when I was young. So car dealers, the Nissan dealer up here in Boardman has several chargers, and they're all not working. I think the only one thing working out front is a level 2 charger. I plugged into level 3 Chatamo, and it wouldn't hook up. I called, and they said there's a ticket out to get it fixed. State parks, mostly in Pennsylvania, and I did find some lakes in Ohio. And some cities, there's a Columbiana, Ohio, supposed to be one of the friendliest cities in the country. Reader's Digest thing. Hotels, restaurants. People that want your business, they can put out a level 2 charger. The city and our county here they got a thing, and it's at the bottom, the Volkswagen diesel smog fines. So a lot of them put the fines toward free charging. And that's what the Pennsylvania State Parks did, the City of Columbiana, and Columbiana County Port Authority did in Lisbon, Ohio. Now that's pretty cool. And you can get on PlugShare. I found chargers that are solar powered, private owned, wind generated, or a combination of the two. There's also chargers that are real expensive. So Electrify America, which is Volkswagen, is pretty much coast to coast. They cover the interstates and stuff. I signed on just to let them know I'm here. I haven't used it yet. Their normal rate is 41 cents per kilowatt hour. And with my membership, should I use it, I get 31 cents per kilowatt hour. So I was considering a new Bolt because of the CCS connector and a liquid cooled battery, but their Bolt and Bolt EUV has a 55 kilowatt hour maximum charge, and it's slower than my Nissan Leaf. But all kinds of things to consider out there, and you're going to run into people that are completely anti-electric vehicle. They might be in the car industry, the car repair industry, or the oil and gas industry. They're scared. They don't want to retrain. I've retrained several times over my life, but there's nothing to be afraid of in that thing. But yeah, they're scared to death. They're going to make up and tell you all kinds of different things. So take it from somebody that's had gas cars his whole life. It's fun. I was messing with hot rods and stuff during a car show thing they had here in June 2 months ago, just to show them how much quicker I can accelerate. And a Nissan Leaf is like the least of the electric cars for that. It's interesting. If you go used, you're going to want to know what the battery life is, just like you would on a compression check if you buy a used internal combustion car. You want to get things checked out by somebody. I've been talking to some people that are older, or all types of people realize that there's going to be aftermarket battery replacements for these cars down the road. And just like you can put your mind to war or peace and come up with all kinds of, inventions, this peacetime stuff is pretty interesting. I've been on the military side under my dad, and then when I joined or whatever, and what the human brain can think of and do when it put their mind to it is amazing. So this is going to grow. The other thing is, you hardly have any moving parts in these cars. When I see a gas car go by, I picture just hundreds of moving parts in there. I don't have anything. I don't have oil changes. I fill my windshield washer and check my tires. I'll bring it in. I've got to do, they do a battery check and a tire rotation just to keep it under warranty or whatever. So I'll comply with that, and there's like Thai restaurants in Pittsburgh where I bought it that I'll, go to, or maybe I'll go down the road and do some sightseeing in Pennsylvania, Virginia, or Maryland, make it a day if I go back to Pittsburgh and bring the car for a checkup. So, pretty interesting. And we'll cover more. I'll do a whole thing on charging away from home. I'll write down what some charges are. It's funny, on PlugShare, there's like one between here and Columbus where people say, oh, hell no, don't go there. It costs too much. It's be cheaper to have cheaper to have your car towed home. But there's enough free charging out there. Level 2, take your time, and level 3 paid charging and stuff. So pretty interesting. I'm enjoying it. And it's kind of awakened the electrician and electronics person in me. So, like I said, I'm pushing 60 pretty soon. And I told my kids, he said, you know what? I've done the other thing. Let's try something different. Let's learn something, do something. And when you drive an electric car, you'll see things that you never noticed in a gas car, that the attributes are the same. But because of the gauges in an electric car, you finally notice things you never picked up on while driving a gas car. So it's interesting and it's fun. It's fun. I'm having the time of my life. We did old car shows, and now we hook up with some electric cars and stuff. So we posted a picture here. We've got you got a brochure or whatever on the original Leaf or whatever. And then my trip to Columbus was to visit Ohio State, and I'll post that on this piece of wood here. That's the original General Motors EV1. I went while my car was charged, and I went back and checked that. So here's the thing: when they call these are plugs, see the slot going to the left? That tells you it's 20 amp, and that's 12 gauge wiring for 20 amp. Now here's your 15 amp regular household plug. So that's all that's required on level 1 charging on my Leaf. I made sure the garage came with 10 gauge twisted wire. So we're set good for level 1 charging, and then we branched out from there doing 12 gauge, and there's some other circuits. We got circuits coming from underground, circuits coming from overhead. So that'll tell you the difference and stuff. And we actually rewired this house to restore a boat. I suffered from a neck injury, and I got into slow antique boats. Electric boat. That's the deck of an electric boat from 1932, made right here in Salem, Ohio. This was on display and for use by the Hoover administration at the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C. The guy came to pick up the boat because I was sick, and I copied some of the wood. I had a spare hull and everything. And he got talking some kind of wacky politics, and he forgot the goddamn deck of the boat, and I've never heard from him since. So it's a one of a kind. No, there's no other one like it. It's a Mullins campmate boat converted by American Waterways in 1932 for the Hoover administration. You could rent electric boats at the Tidal Basin in 1932. So I have some information on that. So that's pretty cool. Battery, electric boats. So that's all for now. This is unedited. I used to do videos and stuff in my younger days when I had all the computer layout. So any mistakes, nothing I can do until I get set up better or whatever. So take care. If you didn't get it, I've got the more of an electrical background on the last video I did. I've got a trip to an atomic power plant and playground. That one's funny as hell. I will be going back there to take HDR photos. I took a trip to Foxconn and Lordstown Motors and the new Ultium Cells battery plant. There's a video on electric lawnmower I did, and I did that to do a hill. I didn't do it because it was electric or battery. And if you really get bored, my previous YouTube channel was No Rust Studios, R-U-S-T, No Rust Studios, and it's all high definition videos over a decade ago on just scenery around the area and stuff. And there is a like hull on that electric boat, the same hull doing high speed at Atwood Lake in Ohio in 2009, running a 1953 Evinrude big twin 25 horse motor. It flew and it handled better than the new boat, which is amazing because it was designed in the 20s. So gonna let you guys go, and I'll keep making videos, try to teach you something, and I'm learning in the meantime. Peace out. Like and share if you can.